Hi guys, Herbalist40 here, and thank you for joining me today. Sorry about the delay. Summertime, a little bit busy, lots of things to do. I'm still on the ball though. I've got plenty of things to share with you guys. I'm going to hopefully upload a video just as interesting as this one, if not more, in the next couple of days, hopefully. As far as today's concerned, we are going to be talking about quite a few different things. We're going to be talking about RON, the company. We're going to be talking about Trials, the video game, a little bit, and I'm also going to be sharing a couple of things that were given to me by a couple of my subs. So that would be Ice Enk, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Sinister Chaos. So both of those guys sent in some pretty cool stuff. To kick off though, I think we're going to start with RON and a couple new things that I've figured out, or at least I think I've figured out. That will be for you guys to decide whether you want to go with it or not. So anyway, without any further ado, let's jump into it. Right, so what you can see on the screen now is the bottom right hand corner of any RON billboard in the game. What's interesting is that basically the little sentence that you can see there that's blurred, it says basically that RON is in partnership with the Civilization Committee, which is a company which basically only exists in the HD universe, and their logo is quite interesting to me, and I think it might be quite interesting to someone else I know as well. What's interesting to me is that in the middle you can see three characters. They either look like they're flying away, or it looks like they're in a praise the sun position. Behind them you can see kind of like a target with the what's it called, crosshair in the middle, and above that it's blurred as well, but they're four little stars that were represented there, and they were subject to a couple of Easter eggs / theories in Grand Theft Auto 4. Now, I find it interesting for a fact that RON's company, the gas company, is connected to this Civilizations Committee, which is basically Rockstar's version of the United Nations. So that's just one thing that I wanted to point out, amongst the fact that the logo itself is very interesting, and the fact that it's tied to the RON company could be something to look into there. The other thing I wanted to say about this particular billboard is, first of all, it's outside of Trevor's airfield, not the Mackenzie airfield, but the Sandy Shores one. It's not too far up the highway, right next to the airfield, so you should be able to spot it quite easily. What I wanted to say is this is taken online, and online it doesn't have moronic tagged over it and saying polluting beaches. Now, a lot of the writing from the walls etc. in Grand Theft Auto were carried out to online as well, but in this case it's not online. You can only see that in story mode, so I'm not sure if that's something to note. Next up on the screen here is what I really wanted to talk about, and that's put RON in your tank. Now, I think I've been looking at it the wrong way. I've been thinking physically a tank. Now, I looked online and I kind of got inspired about an old video game I used to play, which was World of Warcraft, and anyone who's played an MMORPG will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that some characters are called tanks, and they are basically characters that are there to take the brunt of the damage from like a boss or an NPC attacking you. And as far as I can tell, like, that's exactly what Trevor is. Trevor is a tank. His rage mode makes him fit exactly what a tank is in video game terminology. Now, that's very interesting to me because it led me to focus on a couple different things that I hadn't taken into account before as what this whole RON thing is about, because I'm pretty much convinced that it is something of importance. Now, as I said, look it up, you'll quickly understand what a tank is, and as soon as you realise what one is, if you don't know already, you'll understand that Trevor's character is exactly what that is. Like, I can't put any, there's not much detail to give. That's basically all a tank does. It's got buffed armor, buffed life, and it can take a fuckload of damage without really losing anywhere. A whole crew of what we call DPS and healers would be behind, like attacking said NPC and healing the tank to help him survive a little bit, and healing mainly the other players taking like surrounding damage and etc. So with that in mind, it pushed me to kind of think like, what what does it mean then if it's telling us to put Ron in Trevor? And that reminded me of a few different things, starting off with Martin Madrazo's lady friend who Trevor takes, and she slaps him in the face in one of the recent videos I showed you and says no gasolina as he's huffing it out of a cup. Now, I'm sure you all know where I'm going with this basically, but there's a few different options at hand here. The first one is a theory that I've had for a long time, and I didn't show the footage because there's no outcome to the theory so far, but that would be setting Trevor on fire himself, like in the desert. But as you can see on the screen now, the second option, which really speaks volumes to me, would be to have Trevor huff gas. As you all know, the locations he can spawn in vary quite a bit, but in this particular case he spawned on top of the big water tanks with the hippies, where they sometimes do yoga and where you can see the strange designs on the side. Now, my first instinct to do this would be straight after the mission number 23, Nervous Ron, because that is the first time in game that they really show you a close-up and throw a Ron tanker with the "put the Ron in your tank" logo like right in your face, and it doesn't spawn any other tanker but a Ron one. Now, the next option that I have is kind of courtesy of Wispy Woods. It's something that I was thinking about and almost forgot to bring to you guys, so you can thank him for this one. He reminded me of the final scene that I showed you guys before as well. If you're patient and don't take Trevor out with Franklin, then Michael will jump in and shoot the gas on the floor, setting Trevor alight. Now, the only thing, as you can see on the screen here, is that it's not a RON tank. Now, it might be because it's orange, but because it doesn't have the logos, I'm not willing to say it's a RON tank. I'm not going to try and assert that as being a fact when it could be, but it's also possible that it's not. But the interesting thing is here, and this is also courtesy of Wispy Woods, when I showed this scene in my Herbs What Ifs episode 1, Wispy then came along and pointed out, as you're going to see now in just a second, Michael adopts the praise the sun position right at the end of the game once you've killed Trevor, and that kind of made me think of the logo on the bottom of the RON billboards. That's pretty much what I wanted to share about the whole put Ron in your tank thing for the moment. I will be coming back to it when I figured out a little bit more, which I feel I can. But for now, since we're on the subject of Trevor, I just want you to hear this NPC that my friend Sinister Chaos 606 captured, and it's something that I personally hadn't heard before in the game, and again it relates to Trevor, and it seems to be that this sort of dialogue only appears to Trevor himself. So a big shout out to Sinister Chaos for throwing this in, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. And if you haven't seen the rest, they're kind of spread out through all my videos. There's a load of different NPC comments towards Trevor that are very significant to what we believe about him. Perhaps one day I'll do a compilation of all those that I've captured, because the list is starting to get quite big now. But anyway, here comes the clip, and listen carefully. The NPC says something interesting.
You still owe me a drink. You are right about that. Hey girl. Hello.
Okay, so I'm sure you all heard it. She said, "Oh honey, that man looks possessed." Now, it ties into all the others we've captured so far. That's why Sinister Chaos sent me this. There was "I see the devil all up in that man." There was also "You're a motherfucking alien," which I've explained. Aliens, in the correct term, would apply to a god or a devil. Like, you could call them an alien, that's what they are. They're not from Earth in a sense, but we're not going to get into that anyway. Next up, I just wanted to talk a little bit about trials. Now, for those of you who already know this, there is a massive Trials Easter egg. Like, it was absolutely huge. I don't want to give too many spoilers out anyway, but the Easter egg was very impressive and, in my opinion, very similar to what we're looking at. So I'm going to show you a recording that I made the other day, and so it's going to seem like the video's starting afresh. But yeah, I made the recording the other day. I just thought I'd throw it in here. It basically regards Trials HD, which is an older version of Trials Fusion, etc. Like, there's a few different expansions of the game. Now, Trials HD had what they called a riddle. Now, you're going to see this clip that I'm going to show you that I recorded with my camera in just a second, but I want you to understand that this was just the beginning. The riddle was really just the beginning. It then expanded to the other expansions of the game Trials, which is a motocross game, essentially a motocross game. So I'm going to let the clip play through. Obviously, I've voiced it over, I've explained a ton of stuff, but I just wanted to point out that if it sounds like I'm starting afresh and I'm waffling on about some stuff that I probably shouldn't be, don't watch that. It's still very important to take note of. And again, let me remind you, this was just the beginning of their adventure. Now, I hope you enjoy, because this is really close to what we have.
Right, so I'm planning on including this in one of my upcoming videos. I'm not too sure what yet, but I'm looking into the Trials Easter egg, the Trials HD riddle. Now, this, in my opinion, once again, I'm not claiming this to be fact, but could be highly related to the mystery we're looking into. Not only that, it could confirm that on a lot of things where I've been considered to be wrong or dumb or looking too hard or getting confused, mixing too many things together, perhaps this will help alleviate a little bit of the stress on my back at the moment. Because I don't want an abundance of messages saying, "Oh Herb, you're good, you don't sweat." It's cool, I understand that. I'm not talking to those who support me. I am directly talking to those who constantly doubt. And the reason I'm stopping to talk about the people constantly doubting is because you're not really helping to push things further. I'm not trying to have an argument with anyone or try and make anyone feel bad when I say that. I'm just trying to put my point across when I say that if you come with me with towards me with nothing but doubt, how is that going to help anyone move forward? If you're here in the first place, it's that you're looking for something. Like, otherwise you wouldn't even bother coming to the channel. Like, whether you like it or not, if you're here, you're in some way, shape or form involved in the mystery, and your input could be just as valuable as someone else's. But the point being here is that in the Trials HD, I just kind of noticed that a lot of things that we're familiar with were part of this massive mystery. Now, I'm not going to go into like the whole detail of what their Easter egg was, because it would take fucking ages, but my best advice, there was a post put up on Reddit recently. If I can find the link in the link, I'll put it in the description below so you guys can check it out. But basically it was a post very well put together that was basically explaining this whole thing. But as many of you know already, and I will bring the images up, one of the parts of the Trials mystery was these strange circles, as they were called, and I believe we have similar, if not identical, circles at the hippie camp and in other places, and around certain water barrels, etc. So I will be putting the images up for those in just a second. But obviously this was the first thing that caught my eye because it was part of their mystery. I haven't looked into detail, I'm just scouring over it now and already noticing some pretty huge clues, among which that I'm not really going to show because it would take too much time, were stars, and these stars were coloured, so I need to look into what they managed to conclude from these stars that were coloured. Like, not necessarily stars in the sky, they were quite close. Like, I'm looking into it. But first of all, we have this. Moving on, we're going to have some other things that are going to help me confirm that I might be right about what I'm looking into, and you may just be wrong when you're telling me that I'm going too far into it and that maybe I'm cherry picking, when hopefully this will prove that I'm not.
I ain't got time for bullshit.
Oh, shit, God!
No! Shit, no!
Yeah. God damn!
Okay, so basically the first part of what I was showing you was the assembly of the clues. So It included quite a few different things like geometry, symmetry, all sorts of things like that. Also binary codes, similar things that we've had in Grand Theft Auto also so far. I'm just going to play this so you can watch it through with me. Should probably have read that out. Yeah, so there is only one clue that refers to a question. This clue is the number 42. Ordinarily, a clue is a hint to an answer. This clue was an answer that was a hint to a question. I don't know if you get that, but basically it's the opposite of what a clue usually is, which bounces back to what Wispy was saying from the beginning, duality, and understanding what duality means, different possibilities and different outcomes, and also not just expecting what you're used to, like what you're taught or what's considered the normal route to go about something. That's the beauty of a mystery, is the possibilities are endless until you've solved it. You don't know. But carrying on, so as they said, number 42, and I'm going to point out this was the last number in the sequence of the numbers from Lost, but in this case they were saying that in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, 42 is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything. I'm not sure how they came to these conclusions, but as they say here, the question is therefore, what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything? So it reversed it basically. It's a little bit complicated, yet their mystery has been solved, so it all just goes to show that we might not be as crazy as some people think. Now it says, now we know the question, we have to organise the clues in such a way that the answer is revealed. The remaining clues can be grouped into 3 categories: people, mysteries and mathematics. We must review each clue, and as we do, a story will emerge that will lead us back to the ultimate answer. Okay, so basically there was jumbled letters, there was the circles that I showed you in the beginning, and there was a ton of other stuff, binary codes, yeah, again, like geometry and all that sort of stuff was all tied into it, all the things that we've been talking about for a long time now. But as they said, there were 3 categories: mathematics and people are the ones I want to concentrate on right now. So here, as it says, it's looking into the people concerned in the mystery, and it says we can now meet the outstanding people that are mentioned in this riddle. See if you can figure out what they have in common. Luca Pacioli wrote a manuscript, De Divina Proportione, The Divine Proportions. This is talking about one of Da Vinci's illustrations, which was hexagon shaped. Then it brings up Charles Darwin with the tree in the background, which ties into some of his understandings, scientific understandings. And here's where it gets interesting. I'm going to pause it. Here it boils down to J.J. Abrams, creator of Lost and Fringe. He is also the owner of the fabled Magic Mystery Box. What's going to be interesting is this mystery box, seeing as we've been talking about online so much recently. I'm not going to say it's 100% tied together, but I find it interesting that we do kind of have a mystery drop in GTA Online. And that would be the special drops and the crate drops in general, which all appear with a question mark on them, with a green box basically and a black question mark in the middle of that. So I'm not tying it together straight away. I just wanted to point that out, but obviously, as you can see here, first of all we have Lost, J.J. Abrams, which is tied to the Trials mystery, something that I've been talking about more than enough recently, and I haven't even shared half of what I wanted to. The reason I haven't shared it all is because, like, people kind of take shit for granted. Like, I'll bring out a video with a ton of stuff in it, and then on one hand I'll get told it's too long, and the other hand I'll get told, you know, that I looked at certain things and that the things that I looked into weren't the most important, and I'm told, why haven't you talked about time travel in Lost? I kind of have, but if you know anything about time travel, is that it's very open to opinion and very complicated to understand, so I'm not going to start throwing shit into a video when I really don't understand it. Like, I do bring you some things sometimes where I'm not too certain and I have doubt in my voice, and sometimes I don't explain it too well, but if I bring it to you genuinely, it's because I believe it's of importance. But anyway, carrying on here, this was the lost connection, and something else that I hadn't yet had the time to get into too much, but that would be Stanley Kubrick, and he as well is one of the main people to focus on when it came down to the Trials Easter egg, or Trials riddle as they call it. As you can see here, it says the circles are basically the song from Ludwig van Beethoven, and that was a major connection to Kubrick and A Clockwork Orange, seeing as it was one of the major themes of the film. Another thing that I brought up 100 times over, the Orion constellation, and what we're looking at here is clues that were never fully solved. Basically, they're still uncertain whether these had a part to play in their mystery that they never saw, because that's also something about mysteries, is that people aren't necessarily going to follow the same path to achieve something. Now, what I mean by that is choices, which kind of connects into the whole karma thing we were talking about. It's not necessarily about doing a gameplay without killing anyone. Perhaps doing a gameplay where you choose, you take time to decide who you're going to kill and why. Doesn't necessarily mean that you all have to choose to not kill the same person, or all choose to kill the same person at the same time. There may be different outcomes that will lead you to the same objective. Now, again, there are abundance of things in Grand Theft Auto which kind of leads us all to confusion at somewhere along the line. Now, the beauty of it is amongst all the confusion, one of us will eventually amount to a conclusion which actually leads us one step further. I believe we've actually found quite a few steps towards our mystery, we're just all clueless as to where to apply them, or when to apply them.
Okay guys, so that was pretty much it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the most part of what you saw today. As I said, I've got another video completely different to this prepared for the next couple of days. Hopefully that should be coming out. Now, before I leave you, there's a massive shout out here to Ice Ink. Now, this guy has been sending me a couple of different things. There's one thing that I want to focus on just for now, and he sent me the definition for well. Now, in my last video I showed you Trevor talking about what's his name being chucked down the well. I correlated that to Lost, and I still stand by my correlation, my comparison, but what the definition that Ice Ink sent me basically was saying was a few different options as to what a well could be. Now, the one that really caught my eye was an oil well. Now, unfortunately, this video started to go really glitchy, and that's just the magic of Movie Maker for you, so I can't add any more pictures in because I think I fucked up somewhere along the line. So all I'll say is I advise you guys to Google oil well, and that was the one that really caught my eye amongst the multiple meanings of what a well could mean. Now, the oil well, as soon as you Google it, you're going to get pictures of those oil wells, is what they are, that we have in the desert in Grand Theft Auto, pumping oil out of the ground. Now, that's interesting to me just as much as the correlation I made to Desmond being thrown down the well in Lost. Now, a lot of things here are starting to tie in, but they're not tying in as loosely as they have before. Things are actually starting to feel like they're connecting. What with the Trials Easter egg on top of everything else is kind of giving me an insight as to how a previous similar mystery was solved. Although I do believe that what we're dealing with here is still on a separate scale. I don't believe they copied each other. What I do believe has happened is they're using I'm going to say ancient pattern of symbolism that many writers, many authors, many producers, whether it be movies, music, the lot, it's a pattern that's been used for decades and people have only built upon it over the years. Now, that's why it's excessively complicated to start with, excessively vast and hard to put your finger on certain things. But basically, again, what we're looking at here, there is a pattern to it, there is an art to it, and that's basically what the whole outside aspect of this is. It's art. Now, that's the thing about art, you can't really get pissy with someone for saying something because it's open to interpretation. Now you'll jump in and say, oh Herb, but you get pissy with certain people for... Different. I get fucked off when someone tries to use hard work material to benefit a channel. If that's what you're here for, not only are you a mongoloid, you're never going to make a YouTube career out of a GTA mystery, that's for sure. You're going to have to put in... I'll give you a fact, yeah? And this is going to relate to my giveaway as well. I noticed not many people watch that video compared to my most recent work, and that's normal, that's fine, I understand that, because the people on my channel, you lot, are only really interested in a GTA 5 mystery. That's all you want, and that's fine, I understand that, that's cool, that's what we're all here for. Now, a few of us don't really understand that this is not a jumping, or not a trampoline for you to bounce on and try and get higher in the YouTube game. Like, at one point, when it comes to an end, you're dumb fucked because you've got how many hundreds or thousands of subscribers that came for one certain thing, and once you've delivered, then it's very hard to bounce off to something else like that. So when I get pissy, it's kind of because I'm getting a vibe that someone's trying to exploit the situation to their benefit, and that pisses me off just a wee piece. Now, where I do jump in and say it's not really good to criticise someone who's sharing deep thoughts, whether they be right or wrong, is because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be where we are in the world today if things hadn't gone down that way in the past. When we look at Da Vinci, when we look at Freud, when we look at all these people, they went through huge amounts of doubt, and huge amounts of doubt eventually led to conclusions, and a lot of people running away with their tails between their legs, feeling, maybe I shouldn't have opened my mouth when I didn't understand. Now, again, I'm sorry for the rant. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope that everything was crystal clear. I hope that you're going to enjoy the video that's coming out in a couple of days. A little bit of insight. It's all going to be regarding Capolavoro, the movie that we have in game, and I think I've got some deep insight towards that for you all. But anyway, guys, as usual, until next time, take it easy and see ya.